Hey everybody, good to see you back again. So final drive assembly continues on the D2, and yeah, we've been doing a lot of preps lately. I've made an insane amount of large multi-piece gaskets for this side of the final, that side of the final, pieces that go inside. We've got quite a few things kind of prepped and ready here, sub-assemblies on the bench. But to begin, what I'm going to do is just quickly assemble. We got the right side final here. We're going to take that cover bowl gear and sprocket shaft and load it onto the housing with that oil trough on here. So you remember how this right side is the one that had the old oil trough broken. All right, we had some severe contact going on in there. And, you know, the question has come up several times, why does that happen? Well, I don't really know why, but I'd say 50% of the final drives I've had apart from D2s have had damage to that trough from excessive interference with the bowl gear. And to me, it seems to be differences in bowl gears, like that center web area in here is kind of different thickness between different gears. So remember, we've swapped the left and right bowl gears as well as the sprocket shafts. So I'm also going to swap the oil troughs because everything that was in the left final that was clearing fine is going to go into the right final. So the only variable is going to be that housing. Let's start with those pieces that fit together well on the left side. We'll put them in that right housing and see what we got. Okay, way on the inside where the end of the tube goes, there's a hole, so we need to get it aligned with that first. There we are. Well, you wouldn't think this would have been so difficult now. There, we finally got the bolt started. Now, I've hung the gasket on here because that matters. That's all part of the stack-up thickness. You know, you want to have that in there because if I left that out, it would put that bowl gear, you know, 30 thousandths closer to this trough. It looks like we had just some light contact before, which is about right. So, you know, without that, I might get like a false reading of being too tight. So that's why that's on there. And now for the heavy part. And now here I've put a few bolts in around the perimeter just to get that cover seated to the housing. So last thing I need to do is put the inner bearing on, which is going to draw the shaft up. So we have just a little bit of oil on there. See, we're quite loose down on this end yet. We need to center all this up, and then we'll know how that bowl gear is acting for sure in there once we get all this on its axis again. All right, we're not quite drawn up yet. A good 1/8 of in play, but I'm thinking we're gonna have a tight one here because we spin pretty good. Then right there, pretty good interference. We're not even tight yet, so yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so we're drawn up tight. It's contacting all the time. We're pretty light right there. We hit a hard stop right there. Okay, we got by that. And right there, it binds right up. So, okay. My suspicion was that trough would fit because it was from the left side and all this, the gear and everything else is from the left side. We might have differences in these housings. So, with contact that heavy, if I put this thing together the way it is, the first couple of revolutions under power of that bowl gear, it would rip this trough apart. So we're going to take this back apart for now. We need to have more clearance than what we have. just take a minute to assess here real quick. So yeah, the witness mark above my thumb right there, that's new. We had this one before, but we just added that. And that's about the area that the other trough was broken that came out of this housing. So interesting right there. And you can see the witness marks where it goes around here. And the theory has been posted in the comment section a couple times that perhaps these troughs were meant to rub on this inner web of the gear right here to kind of scour oil off and send on into that inner bearing. That could be true, assuming they hadn't left these raised bosses on these gears, because these are the areas that are contacting so heavily right there. They would have had to have a much smoother finish on this for that to be the case. So I don't think that's the way this is supposed to be. I think it catches a lot of splash that's coming off of that pinion, and you know, you only need a few drips per minute to go in to be directed to a bearing for it to live anyway. So yeah, let's take this out of here and try it on the other side. And now for the test. Okay, we have one little point of resistance right there, otherwise we're smooth, 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 and then it's like that one raised boss. Click, click, you hear that? Just comes around, click, click, hits that trough. And that's fine. There's no bind there. That's pretty much exactly how it would have been before, just making that slight witness mark right in front of that. So, oh, this is interesting. We put the trough back in this left side case. That's where it originated, and it's fine. So even though we have the right side bowl gear in here, the difference has to be in the case, at least in this case, right? So, you know, that would make sense because the mounting area for that is just rough cast. They never machined that, so it's not like a set dimension like this machined flange would be. So however the rough castings came out probably dictated how far out those troughs were. And yeah, so yeah, this one's just, it sets it far enough out, it just hits this bolt gear way too hard. So okay, rather than, well, I'm glad I didn't just leave that left side trough in here, modify it to fit this, and then we're rebuilding this one to custom fit the left side. We'll leave that one where it is because it's happy there. So time to start repairing this. Yeah, boy, that thing was just hitting way too hard. I still don't know why they put these things together like this. It's like back in the day, they kind of didn't care. Just bolt it in and run that that bearing nut down till there's no axle in play, and then it's just going to be good after that, right? But yeah, I hate having metal flying around inside of a final drive. So we'll repair this. I think I'm going to need to make this about 1/8 of an inch shallower here in order to clear that gear. So let's get busy. Yeah, look how far that fractured, all the way up to there. So that looks better, huh? Maybe? I don't know. So we're intact once again anyway. And if you look down, here, prop it up. You look down, you can see the heat from the welding actually bowed us in a little bit right through there, which is not a bad thing. Just pulls us off that bowl gear a little bit more. I also skinnied up the opening because I cut a little bit off of this side piece and that side piece. That's what these two small little strips are right here. So every little bit just to get that a little bit thinner and get that a little bit further away from that bowl gear. And if that still doesn't work, I'm not against taking a hammer and actually tapping that in a little bit more. Wouldn't be the first time I've had to do that, but let's bolt this up and do another check. There. Bearing's drawn up tight. Spin it. There's no contact there at all. We did it. I think I like this side better than the other side now, right? It's good. All right, so left side finals back apart. We have the trough loose in there once again. Same for the right side. Everything's fitting like it should. Guys, I know this is a lot of messing around. It's a lot to put together and take back apart, but we need to get these things right now. So it's definitely the time to do it. To make those permanent, I just finished popping out a couple of fold over locks. Go underneath both of the bolts that hold those on. So one for the right side, one for the left. Let's get that part done. Perfect. Well, we've got a few more minutes to spend in the shop tonight, so let's get these inner pinion bearings put in each housing. So got them here and here, and you can see once again we have kind of a walled off side and kind of a snap ring side. Make sure that walled off side faces out. Again, that's to cope with the end thrust that's going both ways on that pinion. So you can also see I've packed these with grease. Now that's just something I prefer to do. You're not going to find that in the book, but these are quite a ways away from the oil feed. So you have the bowl gear and the pinion gear splashing it around in here. They rely on oil that goes through that intermediate bearing and into this compartment up here, and then finally into this inner bearing. So I packed those with grease just to give them some extra help, at least right from the start. So okay, flush is all you need. That's good. And now that the inner bearing is in place, we can load the pinion. Left side bearing now. And finally, left side pinion. Okay, so unfortunately, this is about all the time we have in the shop for today. So we're at the end of another video again. But, you know, it was a lot of messing around getting these oil troughs fit so that they're all right and proper. We did go ahead and get the pinions thrown in the top of each housing. So really, next step, we could get some silicone on the gaskets on those covers and bowl gears and shafts, throw those in, get the bearings finalized on the other side. And then after that, it's, well, drums and seal retainers and brake bands, brake actuators, and then sprockets and bellows, and then we're pretty much done with finals after that. So it doesn't look like we got a whole lot done today, but it's cooking right along. This should have been the last of the real tedious work right here, getting all that squared away. I tell you, that does look a lot better now than it used to when it was all broken. So, and tell you what, those pinion bearings are just awesome. No reservations whatsoever about using those again. You just don't even find them that good. So, All right, kind of happy with how all this looks. So, like I said, we're at the end of another episode already, everyone. So I can get out here again tomorrow, probably get another good day in, hoping to get the bulk of the rest of that stuff put together then, and on to the next after that, right? So, as always, everybody, thanks for watching. Memberships available below, ad-free content, early releases on content, and extra behind-the-scenes videos if you're so inclined. Thanks for the watch minutes, thanks for the likes, thanks for the subs, thanks for everything. If you stick around, so will I. Hope to see you back again.